Could this be a Wall Street bet stock that we actually end up buying?
Brad, I think it's clear. And the answer is
what's going on, guys? Welcome to Own the Chaos. My name is Brad. That guy over there is Fat Man Zoom. The stock market is crazy and chaotic, and we made it our mission to help you own it. Fat Man Zoom, we got an interesting topic today.
Yeah, we are talking about the latest, greatest trending stock that you didn't even know about and you want to know about. Now, we decided to get ahead of the trend. It's Academy Sports and Outdoors. We knew we were going to get a million questions about this, so we figured we'd just throw a video out.
Yeah, absolutely. Ticker symbol is ASO. So, yeah. Fat Man Zoom, what exactly what's up with this thing?
Yeah, so like the name says, it's an outdoor athletics sports, really focused on hobbies. And it recently IPO'd in October, has about over 250 stores in 16 states, primarily in the South. And it's kind of been off the radar until recently with the Wall Street bets movement, and with sentiment. So just on our radar, we got some feedback to give some people.
Yeah, so this actually showed up on our radar. We kind of stumbled across this unconventionally. We were trying to find ways to try to incorporate trends and social media and that sort of thing, and stumbled across swaggystocks.com. This is something that's very interesting. It's a really interesting platform, so you might want to go check it out. So basically, they are the top trending stocks mentioned by the popular subreddit Wall Street Bets over the last 24 hours. And this is very interesting. You can see like about 25 or so stocks that Wall Street Bets is really talking about, what they're chatting about. It gives some pretty decent charting here as it relates to sentiment, comment volume, and stock prices and how it all relates together. So you can see that I have ASO pulled up right now, and it actually is trailing off a little bit, but still has lots of action going on, and lots of people talking about ASO right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So then the question becomes, all right, what about this stock? We have to do our due diligence, so we're going to look at the fundamentals, the technicals. I'll go ahead and kick it off into the technicals. But if we just stop here, I think we've already earned a like, right?
Yes, absolutely. If you guys wouldn't mind, please liking and subscribing to this channel. If you're getting value out of today's video, we certainly would appreciate it.
Yeah, and because I'm the man I am, I've dug in to the financials. I've dug into the earnings. They reported earnings March 30th, and they blew it out of the water, Brad. And I went through the transcript, and I pulled a few things out that are really important. First of all, they expected earnings per share of $50 cents a share. They came in at $1.09. So they 2x'd it.
Yeah.
Blew it out. Every conceivable metric you look at, they blew it out of the water, which was awesome. So the three areas I really keyed on were sales growth. They ended the year with record sales, record margins, and record earnings. They had 16% growth in sales for Q4, which amounted to $1.6 billion. All great. Comp sales, double-digit comp sales in all of their divisions. They have 4 main merchandise divisions, and every single market they saw gains in across the 16 states. Obviously, e-commerce did really well for them. So all that looked good. The sales growth was probably the key point, but also the second point was the bottom line improvement. We've seen this with many companies. Because of COVID, a lot of companies were trying to do what they could to mitigate the impact, and so they went lean. And fortunately, companies like this still benefited off of people being active, trying to be outdoors. And so in addition to actually seeing sales grow, they actually trimmed back on their inventory and their bottom line. They reduced their gross debt by $630 million, which was awesome. So that was great. And this is what you want in the company. You want to increase profits, increase sales, and decrease expenses. And so that's going to increase your profit margin. All that was great. And lastly, and probably most importantly, is future growth, which we talk about in these earnings and what we're listening for. They're excited about their growth. They think that they still have huge growth opportunity. They plan to remodel 30 stores in the near term. They also plan on launching a mobile app, which should help out e-commerce. And while some analysts, I think, are a little bit skeptical that this may have already that it's going to be hard to compete with comps and quarter over quarter since COVID. I don't think they agree with that. And they're expecting $2.59 a share as far as their estimates. I think that's extremely conservative, seeing that their last quarter, they just did $1.09. I think this could come in $3.50 at least as far as for the year. So I'm excited about all the growth that they're showing and what was in that actual earnings call.
Yeah, it's interesting. All that stuff just sounds obviously really bullish. But looking at this, in my opinion, I also looking at the chart that we don't have a whole lot to go off of because it was recently, started trading. And you mentioned the IPO was in October. So I like to look at moving averages. The 50-day to 200-day are my two favorite ones, but I had to reduce this one down to a 10-day moving average, and it actually is following this 10-day moving average rather well. You can see that after the latest earnings report that everybody got excited about, it went up and just kind of really fell flat, but it's still maintaining that 10-day moving average, and that's actually pretty encouraging. RSI has cooled down quite a bit. If we look at potential supports here, I think that there is a possibility we could see this come back to revisit around 26.75. That's not really all that terrible considering that it's trading at $29, but given all those things that you have talked about, the valuation of this, if those earnings do come in at those levels, could potentially see this at around $40 to maybe even $50 a share.
Yeah, so we have the fundamental, the technical breakdown. I think the question becomes, and that everybody just cares about, is this a buy? Do you consider this stock a buy? Would you buy this stock?
Well, before we get into that answer, I just want to make sure that you guys are checking out that join button next to subscribe. If you guys want to become a Chaos Crew member and get daily watch lists from us via YouTube and our community over there, we would love to have you guys there. It's $4.99 a month, Fat Man Zoom.
Cheap.
Every single day, we put out 5 stocks and in great detail every morning before the market opens, and you guys get to see that if you guys are a part of the crew. So we would love to have you guys over there. Make sure you're hitting join next to subscribe. As far as I'm concerned, I really like this stock. This was something that wasn't even on my radar. We kind of looked at it as far as the Wall Street Bets is concerned. This one actually looks as if it's not going to be quite as memey as like a GameStop or AMC, and there's actually legs to this thing. There's really good fundamentals. They have a lot of good promise. And one thing that we've talked about, about this great rotation coming out of a lot of the tech stocks and going into industrials and banks and everything else. The other part of this is the discretionaries. And I think that the discretionary stocks are being overlooked a lot, and that's why I went in heavy on Under Armour. This falls into that same category. More people are going to be spending money on this kind of stuff, and I think ASO it's the right place, right time for this stock.
Yeah, and we talked about the stocks that benefited off the stay-at-home, and some of them, we'll call them hybrid stocks, actually benefit off of reopening.
Yeah.
And yes, people were spending a lot of money before. We saw bikes were like impossible to get.
Yep.
And so Academy actually talked about how that was one of their main sellers. But here's the thing, as we reopen, I still think people are going to be more active because of the COVID-19 pounds that they put on. And I think they're going to want to get in shape. And so I think this space does really well, at least through the end of the year. The question really is about guidance. Can it sustain the growth? I think the answer is yes. So I'm excited. And as far as it not being a long chart, I think sometimes this could work in our favor because it's set clear spots. Like this gap, we could establish a support. And you said, the 26.75, it really boils down to honoring those supports and getting out and waiting for another opportunity. But short charts actually help you in that way because there's not as much room for error. So you just get out if it breaks support or wait for confirmation and get in when that confirmation happens.
Yeah.
So I think in a way this could work for us since it had a gap up and it shows sort of resistance and opportunity to the upside. I'm excited to see where this stock goes and potentially keep an eye on it to establish an entry at some point.
Definitely one to keep an eye on. That's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, we certainly would appreciate it if you got value out of today's video. And let us know in the comments what you think about ASO. Is this something that wasn't on your radar before, or have you been watching this for some time? We'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, we will see you all before the bell. Be Smith, Fat Man Zoom. We're out.
Bye.